Funk, and my name is Rachel Yu, and thank you so much for joining us for Korean Startup Business today. And before we starting today's topic, foreign investment in the United States, great opportunity, but with the U.S. tax implication. Could you introduce yourself and your career at first?
Thank you. So my name is William Funk. I'm a tax attorney in independent practice. I've been in independent practice since 2009. But before that, I worked for large national and international firms, including a Big Four accounting firm. In my current practice, in my independent practice, that much of what I do involves advising foreign businesses that are coming to the U.S. And so they're foreign businesses that come here from France, United Kingdom, Belgium, Uruguay, from China, and I'm starting to see South Korea as well. And very often these decisions, very often the planning involves advising with respect to choice of entity and starting up, but also with respect to what sort of payments need to be made among the U.S. entity and foreign owners, contractual arrangements. So there are a lot of decisions to be made, but here we're only going to cover some of the most fundamental choices, since that we could get very detailed and go very long if we covered absolutely everything.
Oh, wow, it's amazing. I can imagine that you have practiced only one area more than in the 20 years, right? So first question is to you, that is very often requested by Korean startup business, and how are the foreign business taxes in the United States?
Thank you. And foreign businesses are taxed in the U.S. based on the income and operations they have. And so there are two important principles to know. One is that U.S. taxation generally tries to put the taxation of foreign businesses on the same footing as U.S. businesses. And second, U.S. tax rules are designed to ensure that taxes are collected and paid to the U.S. Before money leaves the U.S. So for the first principle, foreign businesses pay taxes on income effectively connected with a U.S. trade or business, or what's called a permanent establishment if a tax treaty applies. What rates they pay depends on whether foreign individuals are responsible for reporting and paying taxes to the U.S. or whether foreign corporations are responsible. And if individuals are the relevant taxpayers, they pay tax on progressive tax rates up to 37%. If foreign corporations are the taxpayers, the flat corporate rate of 21% will apply. But there may also be a tax on what are called branch profits, which are similar to dividends.
Oh, okay. Okay, so next question from the starting of business in the pre-Korean I recast by the start of business Korean. What are the first thing a foreign business must do when establishing business in the United from the taxation perspective?
Among the most important things, and there are two things that stand out in particular. One is that the foreign business must decide if it will conduct business through a fiscally transparent entity, also which is treated like a branch, such as a limited liability company, also called an LLC. The foreign business could also decide to conduct business through a fiscally opaque entity, such as a U.S. corporation. This decision affects who will file the tax returns and what rate of tax may apply. There's an important trade-off to be considered with this decision. If a U.S. corporation is formed, that means that the foreign owner need not file a U.S. tax return in most cases, but the overall tax liability may be higher. If an LLC is chosen and the owners are individuals, they'll be required to file U.S. tax returns, but their overall rate of taxation may be lower. Now, the difference between ultimate taxation of a corporation and an LLC, between a corporation and individuals, may be lower now than historically, but please note that U.S. tax rates are expected to eventually rise. And with that, the difference between between the amount of funds left over after use of a corporation versus after individual taxation through a fiscally transparent entity such as an LLC.
I see. It sounds like choosing the proper legal entity for business is one of the most important initial in the decision, and it can be in fact the long-term success of the startup business, right? And the next question is, what type of federal tax should be a foreign business be aware of?
Well, most notably, a foreign business should be aware of two different federal tax regimes. There's a regime of effectively connected income taxation, and then there's the one for taxation of passive income, also referred to as foreign determinable annual or periodic income, also known for short as FDAP. While generally a 30% withholding tax applies to such passive or FDAP income, a tax treaty like the Korean treaty with the US may reduce taxes on dividends to 15% or 10% in some cases, and to 12% for certain types of interest.
Okay. So Korean start business should be aware of the federal taxation, not familiar with the federal system like the United States. The last question is, what type of disclosure to USA must United States in the first and must foreign business make to avoid of any US implication in the later? Could you tell me what type of disclosure to the United States at the starting of the business?
The key to the system of tax withholding are certifications of U.S. status or foreign status. This is why U.S. payors of any funds frequently request a Form W-9 or one of the Forms W-8, as this determines whether that the U.S. payor must withhold tax before paying the balance of the funds to the ultimate payee. And also in providing the W-8, the foreign recipient will provide information about whether a reduced rate of taxation applies because of a treaty. Based on increased disclosure requirements, in some cases the foreign business is required to disclose information about any foreign owner of a U.S. corporation or U.S. branch in the case of owners with greater than a 25% interest in the U.S. corporation or branch.
Wow, okay. So, but our time is very limited, but I can imagine that we have, discussed about a whole bunch of in the U.S. taxation matter for the Korean starting business owner. But thank you so much your time. Thank you so much having with us, and I ensure your explanation during the short period of time it could cover for any basic information to Korean business in starting of the business. For more information, please see Mr. Funk in the discussion about U.S. taxation in the ebook linked in the below of this video. Thank you so much for having time with us in Mr. Funk.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.